Well, hello, lovely people. Welcome to today's pick a card reading. As it is approaching the end of the year, and this is a sort of a closing of a cycle. It is the time when we start to think about what we have achieved during the past year, and we start to make plans and like New Year's resolutions about the upcoming year. I thought it would be helpful to take a look at a certain chapter or something in your life which you have been dragging for some time that is closing out for you, and maybe what you still need to do in order to clean the old energy of this thing before something new with the new year can step into your life. So as you can see, there are 3 piles to choose from with 3 different animals. Pick the one that you feel the most drawn to, and let's explore a little bit about what chapter you're currently closing, and yeah, some advice on doing it as fast as possible and as painless. Well, hello, pile 1. If you chose the bad card, then this is your part of the reading. Let's start this off. I'm gonna read to you guys the message that the bat brings, and then we will get into the tarot as well. So, the keywords for the bad card is darkness, letting go, death leading to rebirth. So, quite fitting, I would say. Good. So, before emerging, the bat waits for the sun to set and the moon to rise. In the darkness, it can see all that was invisible in the daylight hours. The bat is a master of the subtle senses, of the underlying forces that cause some things to prosper and others to fade. The bat card shows up to signify the ending of a chapter and the closing of a door. The bat comes swiftly, encouraging us to move on. In just a few hours, a new day dawns, and no more lingering in the past. When this card is in balance, what you would do is you accept, you adapt, and you adjust. When out of balance, it is refusal to let go and reminiscing over the past. And to bring into balance, it says to watch the sunrise. So somehow watching the sunrise might be helpful for you guys. I I have heard that it is really amazing to get up at the wee hours of the night to do just that, but I have personally always been too lazy. I like my sleep. Good. So let's get into the tarot as well. It's interesting that the bad card actually speaks about the moon, because you got the energy of the moon card coming up in the reversed position in your tarot card. And the idea is that, like the bat says, it can see clearly during the night. I don't know, you have probably experienced this. Sometimes you feel like you get clarity exactly in the night when everything from the outside world has shut off. There are no distractions. So you just sit there with your thoughts and you can connect better to your intuition and to see things more clearly. So this might be something which has sort of like both helped you and hindered you somehow, because also during the night is kind of the time when all of our fears come to light, like probably for the same reason, because you're just sitting there, you don't have any distractions, so your mind just goes haywire with either thinking about the past, or even regretting the past, or projecting onto the future, but sometimes in a more negative way, like from a dark place. And your cards, it's even visually, like from the colors, I mean, it is interesting because the 3 cards that came up for you first on the upper row are all like blue and night related and dark and a little bit like alone, I would say. Like it has this alone, like lonely type of energy, like being disconnected from the world somehow. So I feel like something that you will be closing off now, either of course till the end of the year. If this applies to you, you are probably already in this process, it's happening, but it will depend on you, of course, how long it takes for you to finish it and close it off definitely. Yeah. There is a sense of you being disconnected from the world and probably also keeping to yourself a lot. With the Hermit card coming up in the first position, the Hermit is exactly that. He is the person who takes the less beaten path and goes to a cave somewhere in the mountains and sits by himself, meditates, like looks for some kind of answer from within, which can be a really helpful thing. I don't discourage that type of behavior because sometimes you need to spend time with yourself in order to just shut off all the other information and listen to what your inner monologue is guiding you to. But like with everything, too much of a good thing is bad, like poison is in the doses. So there is a point where I even stumbled upon some kind of quote recently about it, that when you spend too much time separated and in your own company, your mind kind of gets perverted in a way, like not sexually perverted, at least not necessarily, but just you stop seeing things clearly. So you might have gotten to that point where you were just spiraling down some kind of thought process, and it just you just sunk too deep into it, and now you have to dig yourself out of it. And with the reverse Nine of Swords and the reversed Moon card, it is a similar energy. On the one hand, the Knight of Swords speaks about us having worries about something. It's exactly that, like she can't sleep, she has all of these thoughts. In this case, those are like her thoughts that are flying over her head, like she can't get a good night's sleep because they're keeping her awake. And when you can't get a good night's sleep, your mind also starts to deteriorate. Maybe not on the first day, but after a while, you again find yourself in the situation that you can't really think straight. So you need to find a way out of this. And there might also be a sense even of some kind of paranoia here, like just some kind of deep fear or worry about something, which might even not be completely clear, especially because the next card that came up for you is the Moon card, which speaks about like something that is hidden below the surface, especially like hidden fears again, or not being able to completely tell like what is reality, what is not, not in a pathological sense, but just there is some kind of really thin line between reality and illusion. And you might be struggling with falling into the more negative types of illusions. For instance, not believing that you can get out of a certain situation, which if you present it to someone else, they would say like, oh, this actually seems kind of simple, like you just need to take this couple of steps and you'll be out of it. Like, but you might not be completely there, like your mind is underwater. It's not able to completely see clearly. Or you might also be struggling with, you might be thinking too in a too linear of a way. You know, sometimes we see a road in front of us and we see like, I need to do this step and then this step and then this step. But in reality, there might be other options for you, like side roads, side quests that would actually help you to get to the destination easier in a way. But again, you are just not open-minded in order to see them at this point. Moving out of this energy for you will absolutely start from this point of you getting your mind and your thoughts in order. And this is, of course, easier said than done. And of course, you might be also asking yourself at this point, like, okay, no shit, I need to get out of this headspace, or I need to see a solution to this problem in order to move out of it. But how exactly? It will have to do with you somehow confronting those fears head on. I don't know what this will mean for you, but whatever you are trying to hide in the dark, like, I am a firm believer that unless in some kind of extreme pathological cases, I mean, in the case of like, I don't know, schizophrenia or something else, like something which is physically like present and problematic, I firmly believe that for 99% of our problems, we know what the root cause is, but we sort of bury it from ourselves in order to not deal with it. But you can do this only up to a certain point before it starts to affect you outwardly. So I feel like you are coming to this point where whatever this is that is leading you to this behavior, you are not able to keep it hidden from yourself in a way. And now would be the time to pull it out. Like, don't stay in the night energy anymore. It's time to bring this thing to light. This will be the turning point, which will lead to the clarity on the one hand, but also to calmness. Because again, the top cards have this really, maybe on the surface, calm energy, like the waters that might be really calm, but underneath them there is a storm, and if you get into the sea, for instance, it's gonna drag you inside without even, there is not a single wave on the surface, but there is a lot brewing within. When you manage to see this thing that is worrying you, this will be the first step to get it into control. Because when you see it, when you take it out, maybe even when you put it on a sheet of paper or something, then there is something really therapeutic in admitting something to yourself. Even there is, for instance, this technique for certain fears that we have, to think the fear through, especially if you are catastrophizing or something. There is this encouragement in therapy, for instance, to think of the worst case scenario and like replay it, and your mind kind of gets desensitized to it. Not saying that this is the thing that's going to work for everybody, but this is, for instance, one technique I am thinking about. And just when you have this thing out of you, either on paper or you shout it out, or I don't know, you talk it out with somebody, this might be the thing that gives you enough calmness for a little while for you to be able to think straighter about the issue. Because on the bottom row you got the Queen of Swords followed by the King of Cups, both of Pentacles. Both of them have really calm energy. The Queen herself is exactly the symbol of you being able to think straight and to plan things out. And then when the King comes, he would be the person who would be able to put those thoughts into action. But I just want to emphasize the feeling of the cards when you look at them. Both of them are really calm. They are not out there struggling, like fighting for something with like the guys in the last card are. They know what they have to do, and of course there will be some time moving from the one energy to the other, from having the clarity and knowing what to do till doing it, and finally closing this off and finding peace. But still, it doesn't seem to be that long of a road. And I kind of feel like with the Five of Wands card now, Five of Wands energy generally speaks about us having some kind of creative differences with somebody, let's say, like it's a fight card, but there is this sense in it of competition for something. So I don't know whether a part of this for you, what will spark it, is some kind of goal, some kind of achievement, some kind of competition, even literal competition. Maybe you see an ad for, I don't know, a bake-off or something. Just something that sparks you and you start running towards it, and you have a lot of competition going up against you, exactly like in the card. But there is just this fire energy that's moving you forward. I feel like this will help you additionally to get into the energy of the Queen and the King, and to move out of this paranoid, fearful, depressive, or whatever way you want to call it, cycle. And I mean, let's not forget exactly that wand energy in itself speaks about creativity, so it is very likely that this is some kind of creative project for you, like not necessarily love or relationship or something like that. Something you are doing on your own, something that you are creating in whichever sphere, be it business, like culinary school, like doesn't matter, just something that you're creating, something which is your personal creation and spark in life. And yeah, like generally, sometimes just when we have something, some kind of goal to fight for, you know how they say it's not the end result, it's like the journey. And sometimes when you just commit to doing something, which this card can represent, just when you commit to it, it kind of it pulls you in a new energy. It's just things get going, and the negative things sometimes just fall through. Because if something isn't working, for instance, you take the wrong approach or something, you can always change course. It's just a matter of starting to do something. Then, like, the squeaky wheels will get noticed and you will take care of them. But you just have to start rolling to even notice that you have wheels, like that type of thing. You know how sometimes, for instance, war, because this card can be seen as a type of war energy, like fighting with other people or fighting for something. You know how war, as negative as it might be, it has this added bonus that it mobilizes a country. So oftentimes in history you can find that, for instance, if an empire, if a country is struggling internally with internal problems, they will start wars, and this helps them fix their internal problems as well. It's like an injection to the system. So this is it's going to work for you too. You just have to start moving, pile one, and this energy will clear itself out. Because right now you are still stuck in those fearful, paranoid feelings, and they just have to stop. You have to come out in the light. So yeah, I feel like this is everything I'm yeah, this coming to my mind. I hope that this was helpful. If it resonates, let me know. And yeah, I wish you all the luck with this. Hello, pile 2. If you chose the bear card, then this is your part of the reading. Let's start off with me reading to you what the booklet says about the bear card, and then we will get into your tarot cards as well. Good. So, the bear, the key words are waking from spiritual slumber and beginning anew. Like the bear that hibernates in winter, this will be you. And it is time to slowly start to wake up and move into the spring season. Good. So, after a long winter, the bear arises from deep slumber. At first, the movement and effort are difficult, but the bear knows it's time to awaken and move towards the dawning light. The bear card represents an individual on the cusp of new directions and personal transformation. The initial weeks and months of this spiritual quest may feel tricky, cumbersome, and full of obstacles. But you have no choice, bear. Winter wanes, the warmth of spring emerges, and your transformation begins. When in balance, this card signifies inner strength and yearning to grow. When out of balance, it speaks about withdrawal, lethargy, and heaviness. And to bring into balance, what you need to do is movement and exercise, which is amazing because, you know, like we all do when the new year starts, we get a gym membership and we promise that we're going to be healthy and work out. So maybe, just maybe, this will help you too. Good. let's get into your tarot cards. I feel like your tarot cards are really nicely passing to each other, like in twos, so to say. So, what your tarot is giving me. There seems to be two things. On the one hand, there seems to be something from the past that didn't happen the way you wanted it to happen, signified by the Five of Cups energy we have over here. The Five of Cups can speak about some kind of loss, in the sense of we were counting on the three cups that we see in front of us, but they spilled, and now we are sad about it. And while we are sad, instead of looking for a new solution, turning around and seeing that there are additional cups and additional possibilities for us to try out, we are focusing on the negative. So there seems to have been some kind of situation which left you in this energy. But this card combined with the Nine of Cups, what it's giving me as an idea is that, as they say, when one door closes, a window opens. It feels like this thing had to happen in order for you to move towards something else, which will be much more of a wish fulfillment and will bring you satisfaction, because the Nine of Cups is one of the most satisfied cards in the deck. You can just see how she is springing with joy because of whatever thing that happened. So pile 2, if you are finding yourself in this lethargic and sad, sleepy place because you were fighting for some kind of project which didn't work out for whatever reason, it doesn't really matter what the reason is. I mean, of course, if it's something, there is always and everything that we do, there is something to be learned and something to be improved in ourselves. But the point being is that you didn't fuck this up or ruin it for yourself and it's doom and gloom and death. There is something better which will come along. And I feel like you are now starting to be, or at least you will soon be, in the energy of finding this creative spark within yourself, because you got both you got the Empress, sorry, not the High Priestess, the Empress. So you got both the Empress card and the Queen of Cups, and both of these cards speak about you connecting on the one hand to your intuition and also to your feminine energy. So maybe a part of this beforehand is that you were trying to do something which was in a way not in alignment with you. Now, this can mean a lot of things. It can mean that, for instance, you were following the path of something that someone else wanted for you, or maybe you just generally didn't know what you want, so you were somehow grasping at straws. Or even if you take it in the most general sense of you thought that this one thing would be in your highest interest, but you know, we are not all seeing at the end of the day. So you might think that something is the best for you, but then in hindsight, years pass and you actually see that the thing you didn't get is a good thing that it didn't happen, because it would have turned out much worse, and now you have something else which is actually fitting with you perfectly. There's just this sense of that whatever happened, now you will start to connect with your intuition, which will bring you to this knowing that things actually had to happen this way. But also I feel like this intuition and this you connecting with your feminine energy, let's say, the receptive energy, the energy of not trying to control things so tightly and letting things come to you and responding to them rather than you actively chasing them. This will open some kind of new possibility for you. Like you might get some kind of new idea on something new to pursue, or or rather, because I said it's more like passive energy, something new might fall into your lap and you will just be asked to respond to it and to take it from there. And besides this part of the cards, this also as a combination speaks about you achieving some kind of calmness. Because you can see both the ladies in these cards, they look really calm and peaceful. Like the waters are flowing, everything is simple, like they are in divine bliss, so to say. They are not struggling, they are not fighting for something, they're just there relaxing, honestly. To me, it feels like relaxing. And this might be the time when you when you close off this chapter of the negativity that's sitting here in the past, you will just feel more calm emotionally. And this is not a small thing in itself as well. Like sometimes nothing might change in our lives, but just if our way of perceiving things and our appraisal of facts changes, this can make all the difference. Like, you know, even if you take therapy, for instance, like cognitive behavioral therapy, a lot can change just depending on the mind without circumstances changing. And I feel like the next step of this for you then will be the actual activity. Like when you start to clear off this sadness from the past and you start to look at it as a point of this was actually some kind of hidden blessing, even if it sucked at the time. When you find that emotional stability, let's say it, or emotional calmness, then I feel like the next step will be working towards something new. And this is, I feel like, where also the slowness of the bear will show itself, but also its strength, because you got 2 pentacle cards. And on the one hand, pentacle energy is like really slow. Like pentacles is the work, let's say the work suit. So on the one hand, I feel like you might be working on something on your own just because you got the 3 of Pentacles, which can signify a group dynamic, but it's more of a problematic group dynamic. So you might either be working on this new thing with other people, collaborating, and it might be a little bit rough at the start, or you might find yourself actually separating from a group and starting to do your own thing, and moving forward like more in your I am my own boss type of energy, not waiting for someone else to tell you to do something or to cooperate with you, just grabbing the bull by the horns. And you also got the 8 of Pentacles, which is the energy of like the apprentice, let's call him. So this would be the person who isn't still a master at his craft, but he is spending so much time day in and day out chipping at it that he just improves. Even in this card, this deck is a little bit different than the regular Raider Waite, but you can still see the lady at the card, which is sitting at her desk, and all of the moons are changing on top of her. Like it's, I mean, it signifies a time period. It's not I start today and I'm done tomorrow and everything's amazing. It will take some time and some work, but this is not an unpleasant card. If anything, this card again teaches you to enjoy the journey of it, to enjoy the regular activity of this, and you will get results, but it's just that you need time in order to improve, in order to get there, in order to become the master of this craft. But you can and you will absolutely get there through these means. It's just that you have to start, you have to move out of this slumber, out of this negative energy that we have at the start, and just one foot in front of the other, pile to this. This will be the thing for you. And especially if all of these things, if they have something to do with physical activity, it might be great for you. Or if not, definitely because of the bear card, I would say taking some kind of physical activity on the side might help you to get you moving along the way. Because I don't know for you, but I, especially in the last couple of months, I have been extremely lazy. I stopped working out, and at the start I didn't really notice a difference, but at this point I am just noticing myself becoming more and more lethargic and not feeling like doing anything. And I don't know if this is just the winter depression or whatever, but it is really true that when you stop moving, you kind of just become a complete potato. This is it. Like, there was something, Newton law or whatever, that a moving body is, it's easier for a moving body to continue moving than for a body which has stopped moving to start moving. This is literally that type of energy. And it seems that you had stopped moving, and now it might be a little bit difficult to start, but once you start, everything will be fine. Like, it's literally one foot in front of the other. So yeah, pile 2, I feel like this is everything that's coming to my mind. Let me know if this resonates for you, and I wish you all the luck. Well, hello pile 3. If you chose the Deer card, then this is your part of the reading. Let's start this off by me reading to you what the Deer card represents, and then we will get into the energy of the tarot as well. Your pile is really interesting because there is like this clash of, I feel like, calmness and rebellion. Like, let's get into it one by one. So the Deer card, the keywords we have is loving, intuitive, graceful, and the mother. The deer represents the feminine aspects of earth energy. This energy is available to all creatures, regardless of gender, but is especially potent in new parents. During the first few days, they are fully present, nurturing, and calm. Their inner beauty radiates, and a sense of grace calms the room. A deer personality affects others in this way, drawing them towards a quiet tenderness. The Deer card may appear when a birth or celebration of new life draws near, or when a situation calls for absolute gentleness and compassion. When in balance, the Deer is receptive, compassionate, and nurturing. When out of balance, the Deer is concerned and protective. And to bring into balance, spend time in nature or with children. Good, so let's get into your tarot. So, I don't know what this situation will necessarily be about for you, because to each their own. With the Deer energy, it is of course possible that this is somehow connected to family and children and offspring and so on. But the Deer, of course, doesn't have to necessarily speak about like family and children and things along these lines. It might also symbolize, let's say, birth in the sense of birthing something new into the world, like Ruby Roo. Like some kind of creative project, like always, like some kind of business. Again, take it in whichever way it fits with your situation. But yeah, like I said at the beginning, your pile is a really interesting combination of like rebellion and also calmness. So because of the cards that you got, I wouldn't be surprised if you are a person who is really into spiritual practices, like meditation, or I don't even know, whatever floats your boat. Just someone who really cares about spirituality and follows some kind of spiritual path, whether it's a religious one or something, let's say, like Wicca, or again meditation, or whichever comes to your liking. But there is the sense here that like a part of you is a really go-getter type of energy, like potentially like really aggressive in a way, Not in the way like I'm gonna fight people or something, but just someone who wants to get something done, who wants to achieve something, wants to, when you have a goal, you pursue it, like you're not afraid to do it, like you put yourself out there, that type of aggressive energy. But there is another part of you where I feel like you, at the end of the day, after pursuing your goals ruthlessly, you lay in the bathtub, let's say with some salt or whatever, and you start meditating, or you listen to those binaural beats or whatever, just something, some combination which people might not expect because it is sort of contradictory, but this might also be the thing that helps you to continue going in this way. But I feel like what these cards signify for you in terms of you closing something off is that it's giving me the vibe that you have been working a lot on something. You got the Two of Pentacles card, this one over here, which is a card signifying us juggling too many things at once, and even more so because it came in the upright, in the reversed position for you. It's speaking about you being somehow on the cusp of a breakdown, somehow almost like you're going to burn yourself out. So you have probably, in this go-getter energy of yours, you have probably made it up to a point where you just have too much things on your plate and you can't keep going this way moving forward, because things will just start to fall off. You will not be able to produce the same quality of results like before. Something needs to change. And a part of this thing that needs to change might be just the standard of you looking for some kind of assistance, someone to help you, someone you can delegate your tasks to. But what the spread more talks about, just for your own sanity, because you can always look for help somewhere else. But if you are not right in the mind, so to say, I don't mean it in a negative way, but if your mind doesn't let you relax and stop trying to force things, then even if you delegate this one task, you will find something else which will take its place, and the cycle will start all over again. So what this spread emphasizes for you is not necessarily to look for other people to help you. It's not about this. It's more about coming into balance with yourself and calming your mind. Because the one part of the spread speaks about this. I have too much to do. I have new ideas all the time and I want to pursue them. But there is something stopping me, and I feel like what is stopping you is purely energetically, in the sense of I don't have enough time and energy for all of this. I need to somehow narrow things down and stop trying to force myself. I don't know if there is an aspect of this to an aspect of this situation for you where you might be doing things, for instance, out of FOMO. I have a friend like this, like she is really a super energetic person. She has always been this way. But after going through some things in her life the past couple of years, I can just see from a distance without even, I don't really spend that much time with her anymore. But you can just see that she does certain things out of compulsion. And I have my theories what this compulsion is. It doesn't really matter. But there might be this aspect to you as well. And I don't know what this compulsion is for you. It might be something like fear of missing out. It might be that you are being too hard on yourself, because with the Deer card, we got the message that the answer for you here will be some kind of gentleness and compassion. And I feel like this gentleness and compassion isn't lacking in your relationships with other people, but in your relationship to yourself. I feel like you push yourself a little bit too hard, pile 3. And in this sense, rebellion, the rebellious nature that you're showing, it's not a bad thing, but again, you will need to hold somewhere in order to not burn yourself out. You might even be confronted with the feeling that things are somehow stagnating for you. And I would say if this is so, if it might be something that is in your head, so to say, but even if it is so, things are stagnating because they're trying to tell you to slow down a little bit or you're going to miss something. And the advice for you honestly is just that, like, there is something out of balance with the Temperance card reversed, with the High Priestess also reversed. You just need to stop a little bit, balance yourself, and I don't know, smell the roses, let's say. The Deer card had the message of spending time in nature, so maybe this will help you to calm your nervous system a little bit. You know how when you walk in nature, it just feels like the world starts to turn a little bit slower. Like you can take a deep, long breath and just relax and recharge a little bit. And we're speaking about just purely taking a walk by yourself in the woods, not listening to a podcast, not thinking, I am going for a 30-minute jog and I'm gonna think about my next business plan or something like that. No, just shutting your brain off and connecting to a tree, like, I don't know, go hug a tree or something. Also, spending this time in nature might actually help you to reconnect to your inner voice, which will help you additionally in knowing how to proceed further. Because especially if you find yourself that you're currently in this fearful energy of doing too many things just so I can keep myself busy and, for instance, not think about something or not worry about the fact that I don't know exactly what I'm doing with my life, with my career, with whatever. Sooner or later, some kind of circumstance will force you to spend time with yourself, and then all of this bullshit comes undone, so to say. So it's better to do it as fast as you can and by your own volition instead of when some kind of circumstance forces it upon you. And I don't mean this in a threatening way. I don't mean it in the sense of if you do too much, you're gonna break your leg and end up in a hospital and need to stay there for like 2 months or something. It's just that in all of our lives, we come to a certain point where we are forced to spend time with ourselves. Maybe all of our friends are busy this week and we are sad, and or we have a cold and we are spending time at home, and I don't know, I don't have enough of a voice to speak to my friends on the phone to get distracted, so I have to spend time with my thoughts. In whichever form it comes, we always, at the end of the day, it's best if you have a clear conscience in front of yourself. And if you're trying to shut it off by doing things on the outside, again and again, all of the time, like, your psyche will find a way to be hurt sooner or later. The sooner you deal with a problem, the better. So pile 3, honestly, I think this is pretty much what your cards say. I'm sorry that I didn't manage to think of some more concrete advice on what you can do to achieve this inner balance. But again, with the Deer card, it speaks about nature. With the High Priestess, it speaks about spending time with yourself to connect with your intuition. The King of Cups, maybe doing something with water might be helpful for you. But either way, the road forward to you, what you need to close off is this energy of chasing something all of the time. The energy that you now need to move towards is this calmness and gentleness towards yourself. And I really think that when you achieve that, the blockages you might be currently experiencing in whichever you are chasing would start to clear out just because those blockages are connected to you overexerting yourself and not being completely sure where you are heading. And the big part of it, especially at the beginning, pile 3, for you will be to show this compassion of the deer towards yourself. Like, don't be too hard on yourself, for instance, if you don't have the energy or the time or the whatever to do something. Just know that you are a human. It's fine. You can't work 24/7. It will be fine. It will clear out. This is what you need. I actually saw a really interesting video the other day from one of my favorite YouTubers, Healthy Gamer, Dr. K, and he was speaking something about, he always in one or another way speaks about motivation and how we achieve things, but the idea is that in order to trick motivation, so to say, so you don't have to rely on it because it is a fickle thing. It's just that some days you will be extremely motivated to do something. For instance, today I want to lose weight, so I'm gonna eat in a amazing calorie deficit. Only healthy things, nothing sweet, nothing chocolate or whatever. But this is gonna happen like 1 to 3 days in a row, and then that motivation is going to die. And then I'm gonna go to the other extreme. And the solution to this, in a way, is to not apply this motivation to an extreme. For instance, if I feel motivated to play the piano for 4 hours today, I'm not gonna do it for 4 hours, I'm gonna do it for 1 hour, and then I'm gonna tell myself, okay, I'm stopping, I'm gonna do it tomorrow again. And this somehow balances things out. I honestly don't remember the whole explanation he had, but it was something like that. And I feel like your situation is the same. If you stop doing things, your life's not gonna fall apart. You're just gonna find the balance, and then you will have more energy, more motivation to do things, and they will start to happen easier and more frictionless, just in a way. So yeah, I hope that this made sense. Let me know if it resonates for you, and I wish you all the luck